Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by Neil, 10th man, father of a stolen child, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning, all.
On screen we've got the "Is there no one else?" as the first slide up. Got disgusting in the pre-show. Anyway, any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curve.
Well, we've been asking for that from the purveyors of that position, and they can't seem to give us anything but optical. They can't give us any curve that boats or buildings disappear bottom up. So they're forced to admit it's just an optical situation now. So what does that mean?
It means that the globers are now claiming perspective rather than geometry.
Yeah, I think so. I think they've given up.
Yeah, prior to the Black Swan, it was claimed that you could take a measurement to a physical geometric position to derive your radial value.
Not anymore, fundies. Black Swan.
So the radial value, the radians, that's the measurement of the arc, right, John?
Yeah, that's your R. The circumference of the sphere is dictated by the radial value.
And before the Black Swan, they said they had an actual measurement?
Yeah, the dip angle.
Oh, the Alberuni, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Alberuni was measuring a dip angle.
And so with a radius of 3959, is that where we get the geometry where if you're an observer 1 foot high, the horizon, geometric horizon, could be no further than 1.22 miles?
Yeah, that's the basis of it.
So if the optical illusion is past 1.22 miles, then that would mean if the globe was true, the geometric horizon would be in front of the optical illusion, correct?
The horizon can't be an optical illusion.
I was about to
No, I
say.
understand.
Yeah, you're re-begging that question. You need the geometry in the first instance to beg the question of geometry to place it in a different non-geometric position with respect to a non-geometric horizon. All of those things require the geometry in the first instance.
I know, that's why I did it. That's the whole point. Because right now they're saying it's an optical illusion.
Sure,
And
but
yet-
it's a trap. And Adam apologised to me. I know you've had an earful plenty of times, so I'm not going to do it to you again, 10th man. But Adam was like, well, when I see the maths being done incorrectly, I want to correct the maths. It's like, yeah, but by addressing an argument where it's a claim of incorrect maths when re-begging the question, that's a logical fallacy, not a mathematical error. But you're suddenly into re-begging the question and showing how they've done it wrong. Only within 5%? Well, only within 5% doesn't put it anywhere near what it needs to be for the Blackpool Swan, says Adam. Well, no, because you've now re-begged the question and are entertaining it by mathematicizing it.
Yeah, there's a different reason I did that. It was to bring Rumpus on the show. It worked every time. And there was something, but we'll have to wait for that something.
Rumpus is a proven
Well,
demonstrable liar.
No, I agree. I'm just saying the behind the scenes of why I do it will be revealed one day.
Fair enough. Speaking of any evidence
We do have
of as we were on the subject anyway.
going to say we do have measurements, but they're of a plane. Even geodetic surveyors say it's a tangential plane, but now the tangent doesn't exist, so we have measurements of a plane.
So is this where people say 20 miles are flat?
Just flat. That's all we got
yeah.
is flat.
Just flat.
Right.
No 8
No, I
inches
know
per mile
that, but-
squared drop from your position.
No, I know that, but why do people say 20 miles are flat?
Because it's flat.
I know
That's
that.
as far as your viewing.
Yeah. Why not 30? Why not 15?
Right. If you just base it on how far you can see, and you can only see 20 miles, I suppose coming to the conclusion that, well, the 20 miles I can see is flat.
Yeah. So if I could see Catalina Island 26 miles out, it's flat. The next day it's a bit, the weather's off, and I can't even see Catalina. So it's only flat that far on that day. I forget the day before.
It doesn't change. Once flat, always flat. It's not suddenly going to start curving. But the optical conditions might change and then make it capable of being put through Earth curve mathematics, and asserted that the optical effect that you're witnessing is actually a geometric effect in orthographic view. You used to be able to make that assertion, but of course that would require a tangent to do the geometric assertion that you're going to make in those maths, and we've debunked that tangent with the black swan.
They're so screwed.
That's the end of the argument. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
It's a silly question after the black swan, but no.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, you need an R for that.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Well, just read their own writings. It's not a force, but you can think of it as a force. And since you can't manipulate the independent variable, it's not scientific.
It's like the horizon.
Go ahead, skeptical.
Only in the math.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, as I said, it's like the horizon. It's only available in the maths, right?
That's actually a Rumpus quote. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths. End quote. The Rumpus.
First time he told the truth.
Well, I don't know. People tend to have 95% truth when they're liars. You pop yourself back on mute, truth be told. Getting a load of background noise. Thank you very much.
I mean, think about that confession. The geometric horizon only exists in the math.
Yeah, that's why I like quoting it. So it doesn't exist in reality, only exists in the maths. Well, no, the one we see is within 5% of that one, but that one only exists in the maths. So it's not. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Black holes suck.
What sucks?
Black holes.
Black holes suck. What's a black hole?
A hole in space and time.
Space and time's a
Well-
mathematical geometry that doesn't exist in reality.
No, not space-time. Space and time.
That's what space-time is. Space and time is how they're described. Pseudo-Riemannian for space. Length, breadth, depth, and time. Space being length, breadth, and depth, and time. So space and time is just space-time.
Now you're just playing semantics on me. I meant in space.
Semantics. No, mathematics. It's not semantic. It's geometric.
I hadn't involved the pseudo-Riemannian for space just yet. So
Okay, space
You
and
were
time.
on
Go
your way
ahead.
there.
black holes suck out there.
And how do you know they suck?
You got an event horizon joke or something?
No, I just seen really good imagery of black holes sucking up things. But
You mean that
I don't know.
donut?
It might be that it's rendered. It's like a representation of what it would look like. I'm not sure. They might
You
have
mean the donut?
visuals of it.
Arvin, are you referring to that donut picture that came from data, not an actual photograph?
The donut one? Well, that's like officially classified as evidence for a black hole, but
But what
I'm
is a
pretty
black
sure
hole?
there's other sightings as well.
Wow.
Hold on. We've got Owen's got fond of this. What is it with the old bait and switcheroo that you've used it 3 times in the last 3 shows? So Owen's now got 2 positions held simultaneously: a description in Einsteinian mathematics of a quote black hole, and a picture of a quote black hole. Right now, those 2 things aren't the same thing, just because one has been labelled as the other. Likewise, you've got a light in the sky called the ISS, and you've got a stage show with Highwire called the ISS. Does that mean that the light in the sky is the Highwire show on TV? No. Well, they say that they're the same thing. No. Yes, you might be able to see a donut in the sky. Is it the Einsteinian description of a black hole? No. Not at all.
Right, the donut is just the thing that makes the black hole visible.
So he
The
just
thing
does
about
it
the
again.
black hole is
So
it's
he's just going
black.
to do it again. So you've just done the same thing then.
Sorry, I'm losing track of my doublespeak. That's what happens when you're a baller.
My
So-
bad. Okay, so the description that they give you in pseudo-Riemannian force space of a black hole isn't necessarily what they hold up as a picture. There's no verification whatsoever that the 2 are the same thing. One is just a description of something that they've come up with in maths. The other is a picture of something that they've composited from something in the sky. That doesn't make either connected in any way, shape, or form.
But they have a model diagram of what a pseudo-Riemannian force space time-space bending black hole would look like, even universally. Didn't you see the NASA 3D animation they made?
Did you say model?
Okay, if I describe a unicorn fart as being kind of like a glowing donut that comes out the pipe hole of a unicorn, right? And then I mathematicize that into existence by way of a description that matches what I've just told you. And then I show you the donut that you've shown me as a black hole and say, look, that donut matches my description of a unicorn fart, therefore unicorn fart in the sky. No, Owen.
All right. Well, no. I'd say, as a baller, you might be, what is it called again? Having 2 names at the same time. There's already another name for that. It's a black hole. But you can call it a donut or a unicorn fart if you want to.
Called an equivocation fallacy.
Right. 2 names for the same thing. Right?
Yeah, having 2 descriptions simultaneously.
Right. So, yeah, sorry, but there's already a name for that. It's actually a black hole.
Okay, it's 3rd time's a charm, right? I thought we were moving on.
No.
No, I'm not going to say it a 3rd time. Right. I'll say it a 2nd time for the ISS. Just because there's a light in the sky that gets called, quote, ISS, doesn't mean that what it's described by way of a stage show on the ground on your television screen also, let's just say, coincidentally called the ISS. Oh, what's that, you cry? It's not a coincidence. That is actually what's happening on that light. No, it's not. Just because you say it is doesn't mean it is.
But the ISS doesn't really fall under the field of astrophysics now, does it?
Doesn't
It's
fall
more
at all.
engineering.
That orbital assumption is an assumption. It's not falling. That light that traverses your sky isn't falling around a sphere Earth by way of presupposition. I know you didn't say falling for that reason, but I'm going to slip it in anyway.
They didn't mention orbits. I was just saying that
Falling.
like using the ISS as a comparison to black holes is kind of the wrong field. It falls under space engineering. Ha!
There you go again, saying it falls.
No. Oh, that's not a literal. That's not a falling in physical world. That's a description. Like,
oh well, orbital
falling
mechanics
under the-
debunked then. Kudos, baller. You've just debunked orbital mechanics. Not falling, you say? I'm just.
Damn you! You're taking my word out of context.
I know,
didn't
I
mean
am.
Falling. That's sneaky.
I do it for fun. You parrot the same thing 3 times in a vain attempt to juxtapose something that is a description of something that isn't real. But you've got a photo of something else, so that's going to be the thing that isn't real because of my maths. There's that picture, and the two are the same thing, of course. Just say it 5 more times, Arwin. Why not?
Nathan, how dare you straw man me and take my words out of context? That's a baller exclusive ability, okay? Only we're allowed to do that constantly.
Hello, Adam.
Afternoon, Nathan. Afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
I used to take offence to this when everyone on the panel would start playing ballers because I used to just think they were just wanting to mess with me, give me a headache by the end of the show just by seeing how quickly they could mess with me as a baller. Now I just see it as humorous.
Oh, that's good. I've been seeing it like that for over a year.
Yeah, you've had lots of fun, haven't you, you bastard? I'm only
Yes.
joking. No, I'm actually joking. Right, where did we get in housekeeping? Molten iron core we covered, Earth curve we covered, axial rotation,
Astrophysics.
gravity. What else?
Molten iron core?
Distance to the sun. Did we cover distance to the sun? I don't think we did.
Yes, you ended up on the astrophysics.
No, we didn't. No distance to the sun.
Yeah, we
I'm
did.
waiting to say it's in the firmament.
You were working.
Over there.
Sorry, what was your first statement? No distance to the sun, Neil. Thank you very much. Moving on.
It's over there.
It's in the firmament.
You
Can't
said-
you see the, hold
I
on.
heard
See
you.
that
In
picture?
the firmament.
You don't
said-
see the firmament there.
In the firmament, you say?
Show that picture again, Owen. You could see the firmament.
Can you? I just see the sky.
Is it?
Just
But is
gotta
it-
look.
But is it within the realm underneath the firmament, or is it literally inside of the firmament? The structure.
Okay. All right. You know what a snow globe is, right? You see the snowman in there? He's inside the firmament. We are, and the sun and the moon and the stars are inside the snow globe, okay?
So underneath.
Nah.
Plain and simple.
Nah,
underneath the
Arwin's got a
firmament.
point. Neil, I'll just paraphrase what Neil's been asked by Arwin. So Neil's being asked, that's a bloody good point. If you're saying that the sun and moon, according to the Bible, are inside the firmament, then the firmament, rakia, is the roof itself, not what's under the roof. So are the sun and moon inside rakia, the firmament? Because that's what you've just said, and that's what the Bible says, as I understand it.
No, come on. You're taking it the wrong way. There's a roof, and everything is. Oh, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah.
Do you live under the roof or in the roof?
Yeah, exactly, Arwin. Well said.
Under. All right, under the firmament.
And the sun and the moon aren't under it, they're in it, right?
Yeah, they're in it. In and underneath.
Well, paraphrasing the Bible, sacrilege.
It's underneath in it.
Yeah, you're paraphrasing.
Your physicality assumption bias is playing
They
at you.
didn't burn Tyndale at the stake, so you could paraphrase it, Neil.
You just don't know what inside means. I could be inside my house. I'm not stuck to the freaking wall.
You
Depends
don't
on-
Inside
understand.
my house.
It depends what your definition of is, right?
Inside the firmament.
So inside the roof. Got it. Clear as crystal.
No distance.
No, inside of it.
No
Oh,
yeah.
distance.
That's the last time I tried to
Right.
teach
So
you
like
anything.
like
I'm
a
done.
lamp would be installed inside the ceiling. Right?
No.
No?
That's
No.
installed to the ceiling.
Is it like
You
jamming a
say my
sandwich?
light.
Neil?
I don't say my light's inside the room. I say my light's on the ceiling.
If Paula was here, she'd have both me and Arwin over her knee spanking us with the Hebrew.
Yes.
Well,
that's
I'd like
true.
to hear. Well, I want to know, what is it? Is it literally inside, or is it another context of inside from the Hebrew? I'm kind of curious now.
None of us know that.
I used
I
used to
speak
be
for
an
myself. I
electrician.
don't know that. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
I used to be an electrician, and you do actually do installations inside the ceiling. That's where all your connections will be made. That's your actual install. The bolts and everything that hold it there. That's where it'll
And
be.
the wires.
Yeah, and like the sun
Right.
and moon inside the firmament.
have we got a see, putting it, is it like a sandwich inside the sandwich box, or is it like the jam inside the sandwich?
Well, we need to change the question because it was about the distance, as I recall.
Yeah, but Neil ruined it all, didn't he? And now he's now he's having to
Neil's got
pay
a
for
trip
it.
planned.
We don't know. But Neil
Yeah, I
thinks he
think
does.
that's one of the problems with making claims based on the Bible. It's not to say that I think the Bible's wrong. It's just, how do you know or understand what the people who wrote that know or understood, and do the words still mean the same thing to us that it meant to them?
Well, you have to figure out what they could have meant and then learn to distinguish, learn to actually figure out which one is it, which is the most likely thing they meant. And yeah, go by that. So I just spotted a detail, right? Inside the firmament. Is that really like inside of a dome, in the middle of the dome, which could be under the firmament? Or is it literally inside of the structure that is the firmament in itself, right? Which one did it mean?
Or you could think that it's none of those because we don't think like them. We're doing our best to reconstruct the language, and all we can do is get something close that we think makes sense in our understanding, but reality probably doesn't match what they were describing in the first place.
Yeah, words like Confederate and Union used to be synonyms, but they had a war and then they changed the meaning of the word. So how many wars and how many times have words changed their meanings? Because every time you change a word's meaning, it affects.
Don't bring up the underneath inside wars, my God.
What?
The underneath inside wars. What's that?
Well, when it used to mean the same thing until this big war broke out in the Atlantean Age, and then henceforth underneath and inside word separated as words. It could never be united again.
I didn't apply that.
Okay, so no distance.
I don't know what that is.
No distance to the sun, then.
No.
Did they fight on the back of unicorns during this war, Owen?
Maybe the firmament is a giant unicorn skin.
You'll never know. Anything's possible. We know it's not a vacuum because that stands in violation of natural law. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
No, it's against a violation of gas law.
Rockets couldn't propel if there wasn't. Because it's pressing against the container. Everything that displaces due to gas pressure differential does so because through all the gas, the preponderance of the gas, eventually it presses against the container, causing the object to propel.
That does actually conclude housekeeping. First time in a
Did you
while
do
we've
the
got
R?
all of them.
R?
Yeah, we covered R. I covered it right at the beginning. So, Discord. Any ballers in there? Is it a panel full of flat earthers today? Went through the list quickly.
Yellow, yellow.
Hey, Eli. Clearly, just a panel full of flat earthers. Not that I'm
Well,
on.
Here, but us chickens.
the ramifications of the black swan took a few months, but look what it did. They can't argue it, so they finally fell off.
Well, their greatest champion got destroyed in less than a minute, so I don't think anybody else is in a hurry.
There's a couple
The
ballers in
greatest
here.
champion?
Oh, is there?
Who's that?
Yep.
You know, I think when you say baller, a baller is somebody who plays ball, not necessarily a glober.
Someone
Glober.
posed an idea from 24/7 to QE and I thought it was an excellent proposal to get like new people engaged. And it's because here's how it came about. The guy said his name is Fraud, and he says, "Huey, I'll pay you $25 to talk to one of my friends." And I said, "Man, who wouldn't tune in to hear one of the panel talk to like a genuine person?" To me, it's amazing. But you know, I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay. It's an open door policy, so if you can shove your mate through this door, they've got to come through from their own free will, though. No one's forced to be here.
My son won't come back on. I try to get him to come on all the time. You know what his get out is? Flat Earth, this is stupid.
Now, when Scientology has its meetings, like, do they allow people like when the heads of Scientology are meeting? Do they allow people to come in and challenge their positions on things?
I wouldn't have
No.
thought so.
Well, we're not a very good cult if we're allowing people to come here and challenge us. That's just
Good point, John. Good
But
point.
we're all a cult of individuals that each have their separate contributions and can help the others rearrange how everybody's supposed to be thinking, even though nobody truly adapts to that. So we're just like a super dynamic, decentralized cult where we're open for debate, right?
That's like not a cult, though. That's pretty much the antithesis of a cult. A cult would have a
Oh,
leader and a unified.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's what's so funny about it.
Speaking of the word cult, Brian's on the show, is he not? Or he was. He did a segment on visual occultation and optical drop. Have you guys seen it?
I have. I did see it. It was good.
Very good.
Yeah, Brian's crushing it recently.
Yeah, subscribe to Brian's Logic if you haven't already. He is. I said that. I called that about several months ago. Same goes for Flatsoid. You know, they're just blossoming into really good YouTubers in this topic.
Yeah, just don't talk to him about the Bible.
Hey, Neil.
Oh yeah, we had a great conversation.
Hold on a second. I love Brian. Brian's one of my favorite guys, but Flat Earth, he's on it. Don't talk to him about the Bible. That's it. He's not on it there. He's wrong.
Oh, I disagree.
Oh, God. Let's not turn this into another Bible conversation. If you want to see a good Bible conversation, check out yesterday's show. What was it? 1413? Or is that today's show?
Hold on. Why did Owen say that? You disagree?
Be
I
contentious.
think that Brian has a very sharp view on the Bible.
You would, because you didn't read it either. So both of you together are talking about a book that you did not read. Done. Get
Really?
mad all you want.
Really?
let's not talk about this.
Yeah.
Not in the show. This is
You claiming authority over me?
Anyway,
I don't think so.
but rather than talking about it in sarcasm, let's talk about it in a real discussion about it, because the globe is a cult. If you want to contextualize it, it's also a religion, a religious belief about what the sky is. You know, it's a sky cult. And you mentioned Scientology. Well, Scientology is merely a branch of heliocentrism. In the same way the Catholic Church is just a branch of Christianity, well, so is Scientology. It's just a branch of heliocentric belief. It's exactly the same in its base assertions. Earth traveling around
and
the
it
sun.
also
Go ahead.
it also has their professors. If you go and challenge them, you'll fail the class. So and peer review. You don't get to challenge their position openly. Everything's done behind closed doors. It's a cult.
And that cult is a subset of heliocentrism. So if you look at the base of that cult, the base of their religion's heliocentric in nature. Sun at center.
Isn't it funny? Because wherever you see flat earthers like us or anywhere else, we're like, come on, let's have a conversation anytime, anywhere. But when it comes to these other people and places of authority, it's like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh, I'll never talk to flat earthers. Like, who's culty here? And there's a segment of the quote unquote supposed flat earthers. Oh, you're not allowed here. Like, these people are religious and culty, not us.
Yeah, it's mad. But they project that straight back onto us, don't they?
Right.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, right. We're just talking about you.
We were.
Yeah?
All night.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, no, it's all nice. Talking about your most recent video.
You're the one that I commented on.
Oh, yeah. They have nothing there. They have nothing now with that. Absolutely nothing. Even some of the other flat earthers are commenting now it's a massive Achilles heel for them. But what they're doing is they're trying to just whistle past it. One fella tried to explain it away with refraction. You know what I mean? He's using an IR filter, and it's showing the two effects: visual occultation and optical drop. And the globe out geometry cannot explain it. And someone tries to use one or two of them try to use refraction. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's amazing how your two videos that you sent me to watch from his channel. One was him doing something on the table with pepper and the tea container, and he just showed it. And then he goes to the second video he posted using Jay Tolan's media, and the same thing happened there using landscape. So it's just beautiful work you did there.
Oh yeah, that's the one with Jay Tolan. Yeah. I showed both effects. Then I showed them in real life. I showed them and I explained them, and then I showed them in real life. Because of Jay Tolan's elevation, his elevation is over 3,000 feet, and the furthest distance that he's using is 68 miles, and it's beyond the geometric horizon for a globe. Not that they have one, but their geometric horizon is beyond that point. So the reason I'm using those kind of things is that they don't have any explanation for these. These are the very things they would have called, like if they could have got away with it, they'd call that earth curve. That as he drops in elevation, that the mountains in behind the background mountains go over the cover of the earth. You know, that's what they would have said. Or the reason that the one mountain is smaller behind the other is because of earth curve and not some other reason. But it's not. It's just angular size change and the fact that he's making a parallel. I think what a lot of people don't realize about optical drop is I understand it's a bit tricky to understand this point, but it actually 100% proves in real life that mean sea level is flat because all elevations are taken off of mean sea level. So if Jay Tolan's elevation is 3,100 or 3,200 feet, and he's looking at a mountain that's 4,900 feet in the distance, and the globe geometry can't deal with it, there's no answer for it, and he's looking way above the top of it, then that's right. That's the reason for that is optical drop. But that shows that he's making a visual parallel with mean sea level. And it's kind of hard for people to understand that. That part is a little tricky for people to understand. But that actually proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that mean sea level that is flat. The seas are flat, you know, regardless of undulations. But because he's looking straight ahead, he makes a point of making sure that he's looking straight ahead. He's not tilting his camera up or down. You can see that he has more sky. Or there's more sky shot than there is ground because of optical drop. Because the mountains he's looking at are higher than him, and there's no globe explanation for it. And I can show it, demonstrate it, and detail it, and explain it. And I know exactly what's happening. He's making a parallel, a visual, optical parallel with mean sea level. All those elevations are taken off of mean sea level. And where he is a very flat area anyway. If I just use mean sea level, you can use the surface of the earth, but mean sea level is better. But, you know, that's that. It's optical drop. And then as he goes down in elevation, it's obvious that it's visual occultation is happening. So there's no way around it. They don't have anything. All I'm doing is getting attacked in silly ways. And what's going on is the ballers are completely ignoring the real world ones. And they keep on wanting to talk to me about my demonstrations and how I probably tilted my camera up in the air. You know, this kind of nonsense. So that's what you're dealing with them.
I've spammed the link to that video. Just 1 second. So that video is called J. Tolan Media 1 agrees with Brian's logic, I believe it's the title. Hold on, I'll just look it up so I'll make sure it's right. Yeah, J. Tolan Media 1 supports Brian's logic. It's the name of the video. I've just put a link to it and pinned it in the public chant. So check it out. Go and subscribe today if you haven't already.
Thanks, Nathan.
Were they asserting a dip angle measurement as proof to you? Or
well, in the past or this time?
This time.
Well, no, because of what optical drop is, a dip angle measurement, like the dip angle measurement thing is nonsense because they'd have to show that the dip angle goes, because of optical drop, they can't assert that. Because all a dip angle is your horizontal, right? Optical horizontal is making a parallel with a horizontal at a different elevation. A lower elevation, and the two of them are measured with a vertical. So that's two horizontals and a vertical. There's many different ways. Like a dip angle, they don't have anything because I have too much even in the foreground at 53 miles. There's another mountain that's 400 feet smaller than the one that's at 68 miles. But the one at 68 miles is only half the height of it.
Well, the reason I asked that is because you know, that's the only measurement that really used to be claimed was the dip angle, you know, and that's how you.
But they don't even they can't there is no horizon in the shot, you see. Like they can't claim that anything because their horizon, what would be their mathematical geometric horizon, is beyond the distance for any hidden, so there's no hidden value. So they can't even do that. And I have a dip angle measurement. It's very, like, for anyone out there, when you hear this dip angle measurement, ask them to prove that it's gone down below mean sea level, because it has to go down below. Sorry, ask them to prove that it's gone down below horizontal mean sea level. That's I meant to say that, horizontal. Because all these dip angle measurements, when you actually check them out, every single one of them, what are they? They're an angle from your elevation down. That's all they are. Down to the elevation that's on the ground or the water below you. So and none of that's never going down below means horizontal mean sea level. Because for their globe, it has to go down below what would be your local horizontal mean sea level. But it never does. Ask any of them that. They'll just run.
Well, no, the reason I ask is because they're claiming a refracted horizon now. So, like, I just like to hear them squirm on that because they'll never address it again after they claim the horizon's refracted.
Well, they might come at me with that, but it's not going to go anywhere because they don't even have what they need to assert it. I don't know. I haven't heard that as an argument against it. But
I'm thinking, because I've heard what the ballers have said. I've heard what Danik has said and people like this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the whole, like, this is all an issue, quote unquote, because the globers don't think that something that is in the distance should be below the midpoint of your eye level, or it shouldn't appear at the lower 50% of your vision. It should always be higher than you are tall.
Yeah.
Isn't that the position?
Yeah. It should always be.
That's dumb as
never,
hell.
Yeah, it is. It can never go below your mid eye, your horizontal optical eye level. That's what they try and that's what they've been calling an out curve for years.
Yeah, but they don't mention anything to do with eye level other than what they assert in their side profile maths when angling your vision down.
Yeah, and they try and give you a straw man argument by bringing art perspective into the fray. All art perspective is they take a horizontal line across the middle of a page or across the middle of a canvas, and they just paint kind of from the bottom to the top of that, from the bottom up to it, and from the top down to it. Like they try and use this art, but that's only for art. That's not for, and that's basically with somebody who's angling their vision slightly down, because when you look straight out ahead, when you look if you stand on a high elevation and you look straight ahead, or if you tilt your head down the way, you're going to have two different views. If you tilt your head down the way, you're going to see the land that's below you stretching out. But if you tilt your head up the way and look horizontal, you don't see as much of the land. That's what's stretching out. In that famous photograph by that photographer Mark Brett, the one from the Pyrenees to the Alps, there's 275 miles. Because the mountains that he was trying to photograph in the distance were so small that and because of his elevation, that if he kept his camera looking directly horizontal, he would have just had some little blips at the bottom of his shot, and the rest would have been basically sky. So what he had to do is, if you look at that, he had to angle his camera down a bit so he could tuck in all the sea and everything below it. And then he got to see the mountains in the distance that were actually, I think they were actually, he ended up with that area 275 miles away, actually below above his midway horizontal, above the midway of his shot, and he had to do that. It's like the opposite of visual occultation. Whereas visual occultation, you end up with your vision being angled up the way. For him, he had to angle it down the way. And it's only because of the way perspective is. That's all it is, you know.
Yes, but what they strawman us with is what I call Mong trig, which is definitely not perspective. It's so dumbed down and crude. But they need to burn it because they can acquire angular sizes for things that they've acquired actual height values from Google Earth with its flat Earth representation with no drop. And from day 1 or 2 of this Blackpool Swan argument, we've said, well, why doesn't the model just show drop? What people are using to actually build stuff, not using the picture that the CGI rendering offers you when you go into the program, they use the measurements, and they're flat. You wouldn't need to make any conversions with a flat Earth angular size representation that you're going to burn as a straw man later and then convert it back into a side profile view to make your claim. It would just have drop in the model, and there isn't any. It's flat.
Yeah, I mean, after 6 years, Nathan, they just suddenly found a photograph that proves their claim after 6 years. And before that 6 years, we had, a couple of 100 years of being told we're on the globe. And 6 years within the argument, they found suddenly a photograph. It's, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And they are completely ignoring the two. They completely ignored the two effects I show, and they will not address them. And all I'm getting, or the best I got out of them was, have you any calculations for that? You know what I mean? Calculations. What more do you want? You know, you didn't take them into account. You know, they always want to get, have you any maths that I can get and then I can mess with those maths and match them to some other maths, and then show you how my maths were better than the maths you gave me, and see it's a globe. Because they need to somehow use maths to wrangle around as much as possible and twist and turn things as much as possible to then say it's a globe. Maths have nothing to do with reality. You know, what you see is what you see. It is what it is. Just like Nathan, like you say, right, clock 20 miles. It is what it is.
They need the math, Brian. They need the math because the globe could only work by calculation because it's not present in reality.
Right, you've got to make
Well,
a
it's measured.
whole bunch of assumptions.
It's measured flat, though, and they're trying to take a drawing and disprove the measurement. It's measured flat.
Yeah, it's measured flat, no drop. That's what it shows in the elevation profile. They then take that, apply a flat Earth straw man to acquire angular sizes, which they later burn as though it's our claim. But it's like, no, just show us the drop in the model. Oh, there isn't any. So there's no drop in the measurements people are actually using then. Well, then there's no drop. They'd notice.
Yeah, if we were on a globe Earth, we would notice. We'd know. We would have experienced that thing, wouldn't we? We would have experienced, you know, the curve of the Earth and the rotation and all the rest of it. These things would have been noticed.
Yeah. One of the first things I remember seeing was Rory Cooper, who goes under the name My Perspective on YouTube. It's been around longer than I have in this subject. And one of the first things he did was show a representation of a hot air balloon raising off a flat plane and a hot air balloon raising off a sphere radius 3959 in his very eloquent CGI renderings of these two things. And you look at the two, you go, my God, it falls away pretty quickly, doesn't it, on a globe? And you go, yeah, yeah, it would. If you had physical geometry, it would be patently obvious to everyone, because you'd have the ground falling away from you, and it would get more severe as you raised in altitude, and it would be really obvious, unlike what we actually see.
I remember that video, Nathan. It was excellent. Actually, that's one that needs to be revisited, because you know what? Several years ago, go back maybe 5-6 years ago, it was so simple people couldn't really take it in. Now it's an absolutely killer argument, you know, because what he shows with the flat is exactly what we see in reality, and what he shows with the geometric horizon, globe's geometric horizon, is not what we see in reality when you're raising elevation.
Yeah, Rory Cooper was one of the people that immediately got to the cusp of the actual arguments immediately. As an example, Coriolis effect. He showed what would be the effect of Coriolis. Well, that would cause problems for planes because Earth would be turning underneath them. Here's a depiction. That's it. Showed it in CGI. And you're like, can't be that simple, can it? Well, you move on 4 years when you've gone in and out the Coriolis argument with the conservation of angular or linear momentum being applied with radiance values that are now debunked by the Black Swan. You go through it and out the other end and go, so it is just as simple as the Earth should be turning underneath stuff and isn't, Rory? You got it spot on day one. Yeah, that's right. It is just that simple. We should see it as drift, and we don't. And that's what he showed in his videos. Same goes for Earth curve edge horizons. You just show the effect of what an Earth curve with radius 3959 would do if you actually experienced it. Someone else later during the Isle of Man came along with a model. They'd modelled it up. And they went, look, this... And he showed it me, and I'm like, man, it's falling away really quickly. Are you sure that's right? And he's like, yeah, it would. It's a really small ball. What they describe Earth as is actually really small, and it'd be really obvious.
Yeah, I remember that what happened to Rory Cooper was in 2017. Not so much what happened to him, because he's been around since then. But I remember him modelling one of Miles Davis's photographs. Now, Miles Davis, his photographs, like famous photographs, the one that he shows from up near Scotland there, that one is just optical drop. It's visual occultation. Optical drop is all that's happening within that. And I tried to deal with Miles with that, and I just didn't have Rory's skills. And Rory wasn't aware of these things, and he didn't know me, and I didn't know him at the time. But he gave an explanation to what was going on in Miles Davis's video, and it was a good explanation as to what was going on with it. But because the ballers were all at the time claiming this was our curve, there was just one or two little points that he didn't really explain, and they came down on him like a ton of bricks because he was killing them with his CGIs. And every time he brought out a video after that, they just hounded him and hounded him and hounded him. Because that's all they do. They look for, when someone is causing them problems, they look for anything, the smallest thing possible, and they hound the person with it. Whether it be a mistake in their mathematics or something, they just character assassinate the person with it. And they just will, like hundreds of them will come to your channel and just attack you on every video about the maths equation you got wrong, or something stupid you didn't do right in a video previous. And that's what they did with him. They just basically done the man's head in. You know, that's probably why we don't see as much of him anymore.
Yeah, well, you've got a few people that will come out the other end and just go, sod this. It's too much. It's too stressful. I don't want to do it. It's not worth it. Other people like Arwin and myself and several others who I'm not going to list become battle hardened. And those sorts of ad hominem attacks or, you know, personal attacks that they try and dig up on you, majoring on the minors, all those sorts of things, focusing on faux pas, just to degrade you as a person. Well, that might work on some, but it doesn't work on me anymore. It's, as I say, completely just water off a duck's back. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, you don't have a geometric physical sphere edge for a horizon as required by your globe Earth mathematics, is what I tell them in the comments. And they say, Nathan's dumb. And then rattle off some faux pas I've made. You go, okay. Meanwhile, you don't have a geometric horizon, though. To me, that's the end of the argument. So who cares what you say about me?
Well, it's just like war, right? I mean, if they're smart, they're not going to go after the fodder. They're going to try to wear down and tear down the major players, aka the ones that really put the arguments together in a concise way. The ones that have videos, the ones that are producing content. If they can slow that production down, they don't have to worry about everyone else because most people won't do anything. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I remember watching all of these videos that made it so simple for me, like the one where it starts off with that music, that techno music, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, you don't see curvature here. That stuff is flat. And then it shows Felix Baumgartner. Well, before that, it shows a simulation of how if you're working with a plane, it just continues to rise as you go up in elevation, but with the ball, it drops off super quick, like you said. And I got that right away. And I often ask myself, why is it that they don't, what is it about this that they don't accept? I never understood it. Do you know?
Well, it depends on what the argument. It depends on the argument that's taking place in the moment. So if it was a discussion about a geometric tangent point blocking the bottom of the Isle of Man, what they wouldn't accept in that moment would be perspective, to the point where they'd belittle us, tell us we've made up perspective, and relabel it perspective. So it depends what they're arguing. Whatever comes against their rhetoric will be what they deny, to the point of cognitive dissonance, where they'll simultaneously hold two positions at the same time, in conflict with one another, and argue both positions, sometimes in the same breath. Very cognitively painful, but like I say, it entirely depends on what they're defending in the moment. They'll just disagree with anything that doesn't comport with their argument at that particular second.
Correct. They prioritize winning and psychological weight in the moment over actual long-term oversight and mechanics. That's what they do.
Yeah,
It's what happens, you know, when you lose constantly. What else?
I gave props earlier because rather than focusing on the perceived win in terms of the discussion point that was, quote, won by John, or father of a stolen child, right? The perceived win is what they're going for. They haven't got any actual wins in the argument. So why bother restating what you could claim as your technical win? Because that will only weaken your position. Just claim the victory. And that's what John did. He got props for it because he's, on point in terms of baller behaviour in this regard. Doesn't matter that you haven't actually won the point. If there could be, from anyone, a perception of a win, claim it. And then move on quickly.
Mind if we switch gears a bit?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm looking at this video of Tolar Solar Eclipse, 1999. It was covered by BBC. And I posted it in the main chat, but basically at around the 78th second, when it's almost totally eclipsed, it's very faint. There's a very faint sliver of light of the sun, right? Just a very small, like, crescent sun from it being almost totally eclipsed. But then the next second, when it's totally eclipsed, there's a flash, and it's super bright all around the ring. And I'm just wondering what you guys think about that.
What do we think of an eclipse?
No, of the fact that it goes from a very faint, like, slim crescent sun to a flash and then, like, a very bright ring in, like, the space of a second.
Yeah, I know what you're describing. You're describing a total eclipse.
Weird.
That's a total eclipse.
Yeah,
That's the
why wouldn't you
description.
expect that it would be a faint ring, just like it's a faint crescent, Why would it flash? It's almost like at the time that it totally eclipses, it's like, refreshed or something. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it.
Maybe it's because it syncs up in some way, but that's still assuming that there actually some kind of physicality to it.
Right. Exactly.
I was waiting for that, Alwyn.
I was waiting. I thought that was going to go off into the weeds, but thank you, Alwyn. Thank you. Indeed, you've got to make certain assumptions about why it might be doing what it's doing with a description attached from the heliocentric world, or go, what the hell is the moon? What the hell is the sun? We don't know, therefore, how the hell are we going to explain an eclipse?
I'm not
That's what I
asking
was
for
going
any
to say.
explanation. I'm just
It's
like,
I got a clue.
looking for
It's
some
just
people to
beautiful, isn't it?
co-sign that it's weird, that you wouldn't expect it's just like flash. It's not. If it is a physical object like they claim and stuff, you would expect that it would just like that crescent would become more diffuse as it totally eclipses, and it would just be very faint all the way around, not just like suddenly flash. It's weird. And
What could be said about it data-wise is that in that moment, an extra amount of light is manifested suddenly in circular fashion, or with a circle-like holographic print of it. That's what's really happening now.
What's
why
really
it
happening
happens?
is, well, hold on, that's not a description of what's happening. That's a description of, we're rehashing a description that is called a total eclipse, right? Let's just cut the crap about what it looks like and saying, I'll paraphrase what a total eclipse is and then say that's what it is. No, we're just ham-handedly describing a phenomena. That's all we're doing. Something occurs, we're just trying to describe how we see that occurrence. That's it. That's all we've got to go on. Literally, that's it. So, as you just did, hold on, as you just did, you went, well, if I assume physicality, it wouldn't do this and it wouldn't do that. Yeah, but you've got to first assume the physicality to then say, well, it shouldn't be doing that based on my assumption of the physicality. It's like, this is nonsense. We don't know what it is. We don't know what either of those celestial bodies are. We just know what they are perceived to do to us. In that circumstance, a ring of light. Well, why would it do that? I don't know. I don't know what to expect from it, because I don't know what it is. Go ahead, Adam.
I wanted to check with Neil. Couldn't it be that flash of light as they both take up the same space in the firmament?
Don't have to answer that.
No, that's being retarded.
Yes, of course it is. It's flashing off the firmament.
No, like
Off the firmament? No, inside the firmament.
Isn't it on the firmament? I'm sure I read somewhere on the firmament. You just misunderstand Hebrew.
But if I give you a decent enough poetic explanation, does that mean that the sun can violate the second law of thermodynamics now?
No, because that would violate the law, and the law wouldn't be a law anymore.
Right. So it doesn't matter what that flash is. It doesn't really prove anything either way.
No, not with the current explanation standing in direct violation of the second law of thermodynamics. So, no. Kind of meaningless to discuss, but it is interesting all the same. with that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat.
What a lovely day!